Michael Jackson, known as the King of Pop, made a huge impact on entertainment and music culture. His ethereal voice, groundbreaking stage personality, and moonwalking moves have captivated people all over the world for decades. What about his kids, though? How did they see the impact their father left behind? Michael Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, into a big family. His son, who is now 22, finally proves what we all knew all along. He was the oldest of the Jackson family's 10 children. Jackson grew up loving music, because he grew up in a home where music was always playing. Kate Jackson, his mother, was a Jehovah's Witness, and loved to play the piano and clarinet. Her other job was part-time at Sears. Her lifelong dream was to be a country western singer, but she never got there. Joseph Walter Jackson, Michael's dad, used to be a boxer, and now works as a crane operator at U.S. Steel. He really liked music, and was very good at playing the guitar. Joseph played in a neighborhood rhythm and blues band called the Falcons, just to make extra money to support his big family. When we talk about big families, Michael grew up with 5 brothers, Rebbe, LaToya, and Janet, 3 sisters and 3 brothers. The family was a big deal in 1964. The group, which was often called the Jackson Brothers or the Jackson 5, was put together by their loving father Joe. Backup players Michael and Marlon joined the band and played the congas and tambourine. He led the boys' practices by himself, and made sure there were no mistakes. There might have been, but Joe didn't like them. In shocking news, Michael Jackson said that his father abused him both physically and mentally. During practice, he told him he had a fat nose. Both parents didn't deny that Joe sometimes hit the kids when they were asked. Catherine, Michael's mother, said it was common for kids in the Jackson family to go through this during that time. To train them, especially when they were young, the other 4 kids said their dad never used the belt on them. Instead, they remembered that Michael was more likely to get hit by their father because he was younger. They said that the rules they were taught kept them out of trouble, but Michael said that it had hurt him, and made him feel more alone and lonely when he was younger. Being famous may not have helped Michael. He became famous as a singer and dancer at a young age, with their group, the Jackson 5, which was later called the Jacksons. He was thrown right into show business, and he and the band had to go on trips and play shows. A lot of people want to know if Michael ever went to school. There are reports that the famous singer went to school at home, but others say he never had time. It turns out that this is not true though. Up until he was 11, Jackson went to public school in his neighborhood. Michael and his brothers had to quit school because they were too busy performing and making music, but Michael Jackson stayed the same person after he stopped going to school. He loved to learn, so he loved reading books. The Thriller King could read a book all the way through in one day, which helped him learn as much as possible over the years. He read a lot of different kinds of books, from novels and writing to history and politics. Before he gave them to the Fine Arts Library, he had 10,000 books. That was not the point of the story. Let's get back to it. No one can question how talented Michael Jackson was. He quickly became the lead singer of the band, and had a lot of success with them. 1967 was a great year for the Jackson 5 as a family band. They won a talent show for amateurs at the Apollo Theater in New York. After 2 years, the band continued to get bigger, and have more success. Then Joe, who had changed roles from father to manager, decided to take the family band to a higher level of professionalism. They signed a deal with Motown Records, and made some of their first recordings, such as Who's Loving You. After signing with Motown, Joe decided to move his family to Los Angeles. In 1969, they performed a version of It's Your Thing at the Miss Black America pageant, which was their first time on TV. Hit songs like Never Say Goodbye, I'll Be There, I Want You Back, and ABC helped the band get better and take over the radio in the late 1960s and early 1970s. They sold over 100 million records around the world. Something else was going on at this time. Michael was well known for more than just being in the group. He became famous for his singing, dancing, and show presence. Rolling Stone called him a genius with amazing skills who quickly became the group's draw and lead singer, bringing them instant fame. It was impossible to stay away from Michael's songs because of the way he sang and danced. His skills came about through development. He started singing when he was young, but he never took singing lessons. He was able to change his voice as it grew from a boy soprano to a tenor. People said that his voice sounded like Stevie Wonder's dreamy, out-of-breath stutter. One of Michael's sound techs heard how much better his voice was. During one night, the famous guitarist came in with a song he had written and sang every chord and note to the guitar. His skill with music was great, even though he didn't know or study notes and chords. Jackson wasn't perfect though. He knew how to sing and dance, but not play an instrument well. He didn't have everything either. Jackson had to pay for his fame. He felt bad that he had to wait his whole life for the hero to get to the level of artistry he had reached. His father pushed him and his siblings to be the best versions of themselves as kids. But his brothers say that's not true. Michael claimed that he couldn't think of any good memories from his childhood. When he accepted the award at the 1993 Grammys, he said, "My childhood was taken away from me. It wasn't Christmas or a party. It wasn't a typical childhood. And it didn't have the typical fun things that kids enjoy. Those things were traded for a lot of hard work, battle and pain, which led to material and professional success in the end, but at a terrible cost. I wouldn't change that part of my life, and I can't make it happen again." The Jackson 5 were always asked about their childhood in interviews, and they always answered with fond memories of the little things they did in their neighborhood as kids. The media, on the other hand, have mostly only talked about the part when they told the story of their father, who was still alive at the time. Michael had a child of his own. Was he mean to his kids like he said his dad was mean to him? The famous singer seemed to handle his duties in a way that was a little different from how he was raised. Michael Jackson's voice was happy and proud when he talked about his kids. He loved them very much. When Michael got vitiligo, his whole world changed. It was his search for help that led him to find love. In 1996 he married Debbie Rowe, who worked as an assistant to his physician. In February 1997, they had their first child, Michael Joseph Jackson. Soon after, in April 1998, he had his second child, a girl named Paris. Rowe and Jackson split up in April 2000, which was a shame. After they got divorced, Rowe gave up custody of the kids in exchange for $8 million. Michael Jackson II, Prince Michael Jackson, was his last child. He had him through surrogacy in February. Jackson loved having kids. He told Geraldo Rivera, "I like taking care of my kids myself. It's enjoyable. It makes me feel so much better to know that I can take care of them." He had always wanted to be the best dad in the world, and knew that he only had one chance to do it. Jackson was seen having fun with his kids. He took care of his kids and made sure that his busy life didn't hurt them. Michael's first child, Michael Joseph Jackson, who was known as Prince, got his name from the fact that his dad was king of pop. Seeing his famous father as a child helped him understand how big Michael's world was. But Prince was not at all like his dad in a lot of ways. At first he stayed away from the media. It wasn't until 2013 that he became a media personality by working as a guest reporter for Entertainment Tonight. He wanted to be more than just a media star, but music was still his love. His love for it and how it shaped him led him to want to go in a different direction with his singing. Prince said, "My dad didn't seem to push his way on his kids. Every time my dad asked me what I wanted to do, I always said producing and directing," Prince said. He stuck to this plan and became great in both fields. In 2023 he showed pictures at a meeting about making the future Michael Jackson biopic. Prince is different from his father in more ways than just the jobs he chooses, and how he acts around the media. Prince, unlike his father, went to college and finished from Loyola Marymount University in Paris, with a degree in business administration. He wants to become a musician, and has had a hard life. Prince's little brother, was there to celebrate with him at his brother's graduation. He managed to stay out of the attention. In an Instagram post, Prince shared a picture of himself with his brother, and thanked everyone who had helped Ed. Prince is a producer, director, and media personality, and he also has a YouTube account where he posts videos of himself riding his bike across California. There are also some movies on the channel. Prince doesn't seem to be as active these days when it comes to reviewing movies. As well, Prince started the charity Heal Los Angeles with a friend during the pandemic in 2020. He made a service that delivers meals to people who need them. He said that his father would be proud of him and his work while talking about his most recent projects. "Do you remember Paris? We talked about her before. Her life has been busier than her dad's, and she seems to have taken over his role. Paris is a model, actress, and musician who has been in a lot of bands and put out both EPs and a full record by herself. "My whole family plays music. I mean, I'm a Jackson," Paris said. Since she is a model, she has worked with KVD Beauty and been in an American Horror Story. But she's had problems in her life. Many times Paris has tried to end her life, and the reason she gave made everyone sad. Paris's life isn't perfect, like many people think. She hates herself and thinks she can never do anything right, so she stopped believing she was worthy of life. Thankfully, she feels better now. B is Prince and Paris's brother. Like his brothers, he loves music and art like his dad does. He hasn't tried to become a famous musician though. He is still involved with music, though, and has been seen at a number of music events and shows, showing his support for the business. His family stresses how important school is, and he seems to take that to heart. He has put all of his attention on schooling because he values it. Specifics are kept secret, but based on how he was raised, it's possible that B has explored many hobbies and interests behind the scenes. He may have had a lot of different experiences, from dance to the artistic arts. Jackson's children want to be more than just Michael Jackson's children, but they can't get away from the shadow of their father. The ghosts of their father come to visit them every once in a while. Moths to a flame. Problems are drawn to Michael Jackson. In August 1993, Jordan Chandler, a 13-year-old boy, and his father Evan Chandler, accused Jackson of sexually abusing children. This was a very bad time for Jackson's career. The court case that followed got a lot of attention and caused a lot of feeling, which made the king of pop anxious and stressed. Even though he insisted he was innocent, the case had a big impact on his life and image. Jackson agreed to pay the Chandlers a large amount of money, $23 million, and the case was finally settled outside of court. However, the trouble didn't end there. It followed him around for years. Michael Jackson was charged with major crimes in Santa Barbara on December 18, 2003. 7 counts of child abuse and 2 counts of giving alcohol to a minor were included in the accusations. Jackson said he wasn't guilty and rejected the charges in Santa Maria, California. From January 31, 2005, to the end of May 2005, the People v. Jackson trial went on. Jackson's health got worse because of the stress, and if he was found guilty, he could have gone to jail for up to 20 years. Jackson was found not guilty on all charges on June 13, 2005. But in 2009, files on Jackson were made public that showed the FBI had a hand in both the 1993 charges and the 2005 trial. The FBI also showed that they couldn't find any proof that Jackson had done anything wrong. It has been hard for Prince and his siblings to deal with the effects of these accusations. These are still how people see them, and they have had to deal with the weight of history and the ghosts of fame. While going their own ways, Prince, Paris, and BG continue to honor the memory of their father. As they deal with the ghosts of their father, it's become a fragile balance that shows how weak and strong they are. They also honor the magic he brought to the world, magic that lasts through all generations, and they want to return the favor. Michael Jackson had an effect on people all over the world, not just on stage with his songs and dance moves. As a generous and kind person, he used his fame and money to bring attention to problems like poverty, disease, and food around the world. Jackson went to schools, hospitals, and shelters to make kids happy and speak up for their health. To raise money for good causes, he put together benefit shows in places like Brazil, South Africa, and Romania. The Heal the World Foundation, which he started in 1992 to make the lives of children around the world better, was one of his most important projects. In addition to giving money to children's hospitals, disaster relief, and education programs, the foundation helped many other causes. Jackson's Dangerous World Tour stopped in Bucharest, Romania, for a show. After the show, he gave millions of dollars to hospitals and orphans in the area. He also helped with AIDS studies and patients at a time when the disease had a bad reputation. His AIDS activist friend Ryan White was the subject of his song Gone Too Soon. Jackson also cared about the world around him. His song Earth Song had a strong message about caring for the environment, and he emphasized protection and asked his fans to do their part to protect it. He gave free tickets to his regular shows to groups that help kids from poor families, and he went to the hospitals of sick kids all over the world. He let kids who were sick or didn't have much into his own home, and offered special services and nurses to those who needed them. Jackson contributed priceless items from his work and personal life to multiple charity auctions for his charitable efforts. He got a lot of awards and honors, including 2 presidential commendations. It's interesting that 2 U.S. presidents, George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan, recognized him for his charity work and gifts. He was known as an artist, and holds 39 Guinness World Records. Michael Jackson was a famous singer who had an amazing life. He might have made a bigger difference in the world if he had lived longer. Sad to say, he died on June 25, 2009, in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 50. An autopsy showed that acute propofol intoxication, a strong sedative that his personal doctor, Conrad Murray, had given, was the official cause of his death. Jackson was found unconscious in his bedroom, and doctors at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center were not able to bring him back to life. The original report from the coroner said that he had been killed, and Murray was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in 2011. Jackson's legacy goes on through his children and his music, even though he died too soon. His kids are now set on making their own way in the world.